This is one of the most outrageous things I have heard in a long, long time.
In a case that has been filled with...
And looks at Wendy and says, you know, you had a great career. Your career is over. It is never coming back. You're done. Why would a judge...
What if your entire empire of betrayal crumbled overnight? That's the brutal reality slamming Kevin Hunter and longtime mistress Sharina Hudson as Wendy Williams' fortune slips through their fingers forever. For over a decade, they lived like royalty, allegedly plotting to bankroll their future on the back of a woman they both left broken. But when Wendy's talk show ended in 2022 and a court-ordered guardianship locked down her accounts, the cash pipeline dried up almost instantly. Now, insiders say Kevin's been hit with a financial collapse so severe, he's unloading luxury assets and ducking lawsuits, while Shireena, once flaunting designer bags and private brunches, is reportedly back to hustling just to survive.
It happened, you know, the banks froze everything up. Yeah. He was not in a position to pay $10,000 a month on a party.
This wasn't a random downfall. Sources say this was no accident, but a calculated grab that backfired spectacularly. Kevin had been receiving a reported $250,000 per month from Wendy post-divorce, a sum that evaporated as soon as the guardianship took effect. By 2023, legal documents confirmed what many already suspected. The money was gone, and Kevin was out of options. One judge outright denied his attempt to restart the alimony, declaring that Wendy was under no obligation to continue payments under the terms of their settlement. With his legal efforts flopping, Kevin then pivoted to an aggressive lawsuit, this time demanding $250 million in damages, not just from Wendy, but from her guardian and even Wells Fargo, alleging a massive conspiracy to cut him off.
I mean, I take accountability for my actions, you know, for what's obviously out there.
But here's where things get even more twisted. While Wendy was battling health issues, being shuttled between facilities, and losing access to her own life, Kevin and Shireena were allegedly trying to build theirs with her money. Sharina Hudson, the same woman Kevin kept hidden for over a decade while publicly managing Wendy's career, reportedly gave birth to his daughter in 2019. Insiders familiar with the timeline say the affair had been active for over 15 years, overlapping with Wendy's most vulnerable periods, including hospitalizations and rehab. And it wasn't just a fling. Kevin reportedly purchased properties for Shireena, funded her lifestyle, and helped launch her vegan chef brand using Wendy's resources. Then came the collapse. With the talk show off the air and Wendy placed under guardianship, the monthly checks stopped. Kevin claimed in court that he was unable to pay basic bills, including his homeowners association dues, car insurance, and credit card minimums. UBS Bank filed suit against him in mid-2024 for over $20,000 in unpaid debt. Around the same time, public records showed he was pawning off high-end vehicles and listing the Florida home he once shared with Shireena for over $1.2 million. But despite the luxury price tag, neighbors say the property had fallen into disrepair, another sign the cash was gone. Meanwhile, Shireena didn't just disappear. According to sources close to the situation, she deactivated social media accounts and relocated, possibly back to live with family, after being overwhelmed by the fallout. Gone were the days of Instagram glamour shots and designer promotions. Instead, she resurfaced later in 2025, pushing real estate services, wellness products, and small business consulting. One source described it bluntly: she went from Gucci to gut cleanses. The same insiders say Kevin and Shireena began drifting apart during this time, with tensions reportedly flaring over finances and future plans. Some claim Kevin stopped contributing to expenses for their daughter, sparking further strain in the relationship.
With August, I've always spoke to her, and she's always wanted me to spend her money.
Public opinion hasn't been kind. Social media users widely labeled the unraveling of Kevin and Sharina's lifestyle as karma. For years, fans of Wendy had suspected the affair, but it wasn't until the Lifetime documentary aired in early 2024 that the full extent of the betrayal became undeniable. Viewers watched Wendy struggle with confusion, speech difficulty, and limited mobility, while the people closest to her were allegedly negotiating brand deals, scheduling film crews, and selling access. Sharina's name wasn't mentioned in the doc, but her absence from Kevin's side during his legal crusades didn't go unnoticed. Even as Kevin tried to reframe himself as Wendy's protector, claiming in a federal lawsuit that he was exposing financial abuse within the guardianship, most weren't buying it. Legal experts noted that he had no standing to sue on Wendy's behalf, especially after their divorce and with no current legal role in her affairs. Still, the filing made headlines, dragging the names of court-appointed officials, medical professionals, and banking institutions into a storm of accusations. And in a twist that shocked even longtime observers, some of those allegations began aligning with behind-the-scenes reports from Wendy's own family and friends.
The judge
in the Guardianship.
The judge in the Guardianship read Alex Finney the riot act, threatened her, and said, "You're talking making an accusation that she's talking to the media. And if you continue doing it, I'm going to do this to you, I'm going to do that to you. There is a gag order in this case. I can tell you that the judge has scared a lot of people in this case.
According to court records and interviews, Wendy's guardianship has raised eyebrows since its inception. Though it began after Wells Fargo froze her accounts in 2022, citing suspicious withdrawals and fears of exploitation, the arrangement quickly escalated. By 2024, Wendy's niece, sister, and son were all publicly expressing concerns about being shut out. Her guardian, attorney Sharina Hudson, allegedly blocked family visits and sold off Wendy's Manhattan apartment. And while Wendy was reportedly begging to leave the assisted living facility, calling it a dump, and accusing staff of over-medicating her, Kevin was suing the same system for cutting off the funds he'd once lived on. The irony couldn't be clearer. The very structure put in place to prevent Wendy's exploitation may have indirectly revealed just how many people had a financial stake in keeping her quiet. Kevin's lawsuit, whether sincere or strategic, pulled back the curtain on who's been getting paid, who's been locked out, and who might be next. And while Sharina's name has stayed mostly out of the court filings, insiders claim she's still connected behind the scenes, especially when it comes to the few remaining assets tied to Kevin's name.
And by the way, the judge doesn't know what she's talking about. I mean,
By the way, there are a lot of people clamoring for Wendy to actually get back on the air and to have a show again.
When did this judge become Roger Ebert? I mean, I'm serious. Wendy Williams is a hot commodity right now. I can tell you from our Tubi documentary, it attracted a lot of attention. She's done interviews with major outlets, people.
But if the downfall of Kevin and Shireena feels like a full circle moment, it might only be the beginning. Because as investigators start to dig deeper into the details of Wendy's guardianship, examining sealed documents, insider testimonies, and financial trails, new whispers are emerging. Allegations of money mismanagement, backdoor dealings, and unauthorized sales of Wendy's personal belongings have begun circulating. Sources familiar with the ongoing court motions suggest that a previously unknown trust account may have been accessed without Wendy's approval, potentially implicating multiple parties in a broader financial scheme. And if that's true, then Kevin and Shireena might not be the only ones who are counting on Wendy's silence to keep their world from collapsing. But behind the messy headlines and public meltdowns lies something even darker. Because while Kevin Hunter and Sharina Hudson scramble to pick up the pieces, the guardianship meant to protect Wendy Williams is raising alarms of its own. Multiple sources close to the case now claim that the real beneficiary of this arrangement isn't Wendy, it's the woman paid to control her. Sabrina Morrissey, the court-appointed guardian, is reportedly earning hundreds of dollars an hour, all billed directly to Wendy's estate. That means every court appearance, every legal document, every denied family visit, someone's getting paid. And the longer the guardianship stays in place, the longer the money flows. Kevin's federal lawsuit demanding $250 million may sound outrageous on paper, but in his filings, he laid out a chilling theory that this wasn't a medical decision, it was a setup.
And I can't figure out, why is there a gag order in this case? That Wendy can't talk about her circumstances? Why is the judge doing it?
That aside,
there is something
that's even
way, way bigger.
He alleged that a network of high-powered lawyers, banks, and guardians colluded to freeze Wendy's assets, remove her access, and divide the spoils, while leaving people like him, who once lived off her income, cut off. It's a stunning accusation. And though his motives are clearly tangled with self-interest, parts of his case align with real concerns raised by Wendy's own family. Several close relatives have spoken out about being shut out of Wendy's life for months at a time. Her niece Alex Finney and her sister Wanda both claim they haven't been able to contact her freely, saying calls go unanswered and visits are blocked without warning. One longtime friend described the guardianship circle as a pack of losers, all circling Wendy like vultures, not to help, but to harvest. Even Wendy's cats were reportedly taken away without her knowledge, and her apartment sold at a loss. The image being painted isn't one of care, it's one of control. Meanwhile, on the other end of this twisted chain reaction, Sharina Hudson's fall from luxury is turning heads. Once seen stepping out of Ferraris and rocking designer labels, allegedly funded by Wendy's money, Shireena now appears to be clawing her way back from the brink. She's reportedly taken on multiple hustles, pushing real estate listings and nutritional supplements, while keeping a low profile online. Industry sources who previously dealt with her describe a woman in total despair, realizing too late that her role in Kevin's plan was never secure. She thought she was winning, one insider said. Now she's just surviving. That despair may be bleeding into her relationship with Kevin. Reports suggest tensions are rising between the two, especially with mounting financial pressure and no steady income. Kevin's failed lawsuits, Sharina's business struggles, and the constant public backlash have allegedly taken their toll. The house they once shared in Florida? Listed. Their luxury cars? Sold off. According to one former associate, Shireena's quietly moved out and returned to live with relatives, marking what could be the end of their relationship entirely.
I am so excited to introduce you guys these pancakes with only 3 ingredients. Baby, when I tell you these things gonna be so
But insiders aren't just talking about Shireena's location. They're focused on her mindset. Multiple people close to the situation say her spiral isn't just financial, it's emotional. One former friend describes her as withdrawn, ashamed, and visibly shaken during a recent run-in. Sources whisper that Shireena's nights are haunted by the empire she helped destroy, turning her hustle into a desperate bid for redemption. She allegedly underestimated not just Wendy's longevity, but the legal machine that's now frozen everyone out. What started as a calculated play for luxury, some believe, has become a personal collapse wrapped in regret. There's growing speculation that Shireena never imagined the guardianship would hold this long, or that it would lock down Wendy's assets so completely. According to court experts, Wendy's financial lockdown has been among the most restrictive seen in recent celebrity cases, making it virtually impossible for outsiders to exploit or access any part of her wealth. That reality reportedly blindsided Shireena, who many believe had emotionally, and perhaps financially, banked on Kevin's continued access to Wendy's income. Without it, she's allegedly been left with nothing but the fallout. The psychological cost is beginning to show. Associates claim she's become deeply paranoid, constantly worried about surveillance, lawsuits, and media exposure. She's reportedly burned bridges with past friends, cut off communication with business contacts, and avoids events where she might be recognized. One source noted that Shireena now moves like someone waiting for the next blow to land, suggesting that even she fears what else might still surface from her years alongside Kevin. This isn't just guilt, it's anticipation, and it could be revealing cracks in her once calm exterior.
He was with me, begging forgiveness, telling me to take a moment, and he would see it, and we were meant to be together.
Some believe Shireena is grappling with a deep identity crisis. For over a decade, her entire image was tied to being the quiet power behind Kevin, the one who allegedly knew how to stay invisible while still benefiting. Now that invisibility has turned into isolation, and without Kevin's legal backing or Wendy's money, she's reportedly struggling to find footing. Her attempts to pivot into entrepreneurship have largely fizzled, and whispers of mounting personal debt have started circulating. That strain could soon bring her into the crosshairs of legal scrutiny, especially if Wendy's estate decides to trace any misspent funds or unauthorized transactions tied to her name. And the stakes may be rising. Legal analysts watching the case have suggested that future financial probes, especially if triggered by new medical reviews or court challenges, could uncover hidden assets or expose undisclosed transfers from Wendy's accounts. If Shireena benefited from any of these moves, even indirectly, she could find herself dragged into a new wave of lawsuits. While there's no formal complaint against her yet, the climate is shifting. One industry insider said it best: in high-profile guardianships, the further the fall, the wider the net. If these psychological cracks widen, could Shireena flip the script and expose even darker secrets about Kevin's plots? It's a question echoing louder as her silence stretches on. Because in this scandal, everyone once seen as untouchable is now just a few bad headlines away from full collapse. And the person who knows the most about what Kevin did behind closed doors might also be the most desperate to cut a deal before it's too late.
I feel like the Guardian has not done a good job of protecting my mom. As long as she has people around who are yes people, I know that she's not getting the help that she needs or getting better.
But this isn't just a personal drama. It's the echo of a much bigger betrayal. Because when Kevin chose Shireena over Wendy, he didn't just break a marriage. He allegedly helped initiate a spiral that left Wendy vulnerable, isolated, and without access to her own fortune. The documentary footage showed Wendy struggling with confusion and detachment, but still begging for freedom. In one scene, she drops a note from her assisted living window that simply read, "Help, Wendy." That cry hasn't been forgotten, and now, as the legal walls begin to crack, more people are asking whether Kevin's infidelity and Shireena's involvement were just symptoms, or part of the cause. And it gets worse. New whispers are surfacing that suggest even deeper manipulation within the guardianship. Multiple unnamed sources, including 2 former employees connected to Wendy's inner circle, claim that there were internal power struggles between Wendy's guardian, her former publicist, and her past managers, all allegedly jockeying for influence while Wendy drifted further into silence. Some of these same individuals were reportedly shopping media projects about Wendy's life, raising uncomfortable questions about who really benefits from keeping her story in limbo. At the center of it all is Wendy herself, cut off, medicated, and monitored. Her fans are still divided. Some believe she's ill and needs protection. Others think she's being held captive under the guise of care. But no matter where you stand, one thing is undeniable. The people who once orbited Wendy for love, loyalty, or money have all disappeared, leaving behind lawsuits, documentaries, and silence. And yet, the chaos hasn't slowed down. Kevin's latest legal moves hint that he's not done trying to claw his way back into Wendy's financial picture, despite courts repeatedly shutting him out. Shireena, once groomed as the next chapter of his life, now seems to be operating alone, her name stripped from Kevin's social media, her presence erased. But insiders believe she may still have secrets to spill, especially if her situation continues to spiral. One former stylist who worked with her in 2019 said, if she talks, a lot of people are going to regret underestimating her.
Is he this gangster that behind the scenes is that him? Or is that
Shout out to Wendy Williams.
So the question now becomes, who else was in on it? If Kevin and Shireena weren't the masterminds, who was? And how far does the web of exploitation reach? Because while some names are out in the open, others are still hiding behind sealed court records, confidential settlements, and legal non-disclosures. There are whispers that even the documentary's own producers, some of whom were paid by Wendy's estate, were more interested in exposure than rehabilitation. And if that's true, it means that Wendy, the woman who built her brand on exposing the secrets of others, has become the most exploited story of all. As Kevin drowns in legal battles and Shireena reportedly spirals into deeper despair, one thing's clear. This scandal's web of schemes and karma might just ensnare more players, but will justice ever truly free Wendy from the chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you think really happened behind the scenes. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell. This storm's far from over. Stay sharp and stay watching.